So, good afternoon all. We shall discuss today about the two-stroke engine. So, in the last class, we have seen what is meant by a four-stroke engine, what are the various components, and what is the principle of operation. That is, what are the different types of strokes or what are the different events that occur in a four-stroke engine. Today, we will discuss about a two-stroke engine. So, by the name itself, it indicates that there are two strokes in this engine. In case of four-stroke engine, one cycle is completed in how many strokes? 4 strokes. 4 strokes of the piston. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 strokes. And during these 4 strokes, how many revolutions are completed by the crank? 2 revolutions. So, in case of a 4-stroke engine, take a 4-stroke engine, one cycle means number of strokes and revolutions of crank. In 4-stroke engine, one cycle is completed in 4 strokes of the piston and 2 revolutions of the crank. So, these revolutions are made by the crank and this is by piston. So, that's clear. Here you may get one doubt. Here 2 actions, that is transfer of charge from this crankcase to the combustion chamber, and at the same time the exhaust of gases from combustion chamber to the outside atmosphere are taking place at the same time. Now you may get doubt that, sir, whatever be the charge which is entering into the combustion chamber, it may escape through the exhaust port. Is it right or not? At this point, both the ports are opened simultaneously at a time, so that whatever be the charge which is there may escape through the exhaust port without entering into the combustion chamber. Is it a problem or not? Because both the ports are opened at a time. Right? So, what happens is, for that purpose, here the piston is provided with some provision. So, this is called as crowning of the piston. What is that? Crowning of the piston. So, due to this crowning, the charge which is entering into the combustion chamber is directed upwards, but it is not allowed to escape in this way. So that only exhaust gases are sent out. And one more advantage of this provision is, whatever be the charge which is there entering into the combustion chamber will pushes the exhaust gases outside. Will pushes the exhaust gas, will push the exhaust gas outside, so that the exhaust can be completed. Now tell me, is it advantages or disadvantages as compared to 4-stroke engine, where the exhaust of all the gases is completed? In 2-stroke engine or 4-stroke engine, which is effective? In case of a 4-stroke engine, there is a separate stroke for exhaust. So during that time, there is no fresh charge. The task of the piston is simply to send all the exhaust gases outside. But here it is not the case like that. There is no separate stroke for exhaust. So that's why the charge which is entering into the combustion chamber will take that function, will do that function, that is to expel the exhaust gases out. So during that process, some amount of charge may escape along with the exhaust gases also. It is not the case with 4-stroke engine. In 4-stroke engine, there is no mixing of fresh charge and exhaust gases, because there are separate strokes for each and every event. Okay, so that's why some quantity of charge is wasted. So it is simply sent out along with the exhaust gases without burning. So that's why the fuel consumption is more in case of two-stroke engine. Why the fuel consumption is more? Some amount of charge is nothing but fuel. Some amount of charge is simply goes out without burning. So obviously there is a wastage, so more fuel consumption is there in case of two-stroke engine. That's why if you observe a two-stroke vehicle, the mileage is very less compared to four-stroke vehicle. Presently there are no two-stroke engines, but previously we used to have two-stroke engines. You might have heard the word Bajaj Chatak. Have you heard? That is a scooter, Bajaj Chatak. The very popular and most successful model from Bajaj. Bajaj Chatak was the most successful model because of its pickup and other things. It is a 150cc engine. So I think what do you know by the word cc? So cc means cubic centimeters. That is nothing but the volume, stroke volume. Okay. So 150cc. And do you know what is the mileage of that Bajaj Chatak scooter? It is around 25 or 30 per liter. Per liter, it can run only for 25 or 30 kilometers. But if you take a four-stroke engine, say for example our Pulsar, which is also 150cc. So what is the mileage given by the Pulsar? 40. So where is 25 and where is 40? Both are 150cc engines. That means almost the quantity of fuel which is entering into the cylinder is same. But in case of two-stroke engine, some quantity of charge is going outside without producing any work, without burning itself. So that's why some fuel is wasted. So that is one disadvantage of two-stroke engine. Is it right or not? And one more disadvantage is, in case of four-stroke engine, there is a separate lubrication system. So I think all of you know what is meant by lubrication system. So it is a fluid, it is an oil, lubricating oil, which is used to reduce the friction in the moving parts. So if you observe, in case of motorcycles, where do you fill this lubricating oil? ఎక్కడ ఫిల్ చేస్తారు చెప్పండి? ఇంజిన్ దగ్గర కిందనే ఒక చిన్న వాల్లో ఉంటుంది చూసారా, అది ఇప్పిసి చూసి అందులోంచి ఆయిల్ పోస్తారు. సో దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ క్రాంక్ కేస్. క్రాంక్ కేస్లో మనం ఆయిల్ వేస్తాం, అండ్ ఫ్రమ్ దేర్ ద ఆయిల్ ఈజ్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూటెడ్ టు ఆల్ ద మూవింగ్ కాంపోనెంట్స్. సో దెర్ ఈజ్ నో other function for the crankcase in case of four-stroke engine, only to store the lubricating oil. But here the crankcase has specific function, whatever be the charge. So in case of two-stroke engine, the crankcase is filled with the charge during suction. So you cannot store lubricating oil here. You cannot store the charge. You cannot store the lubricating oil in the crankcase. Is it right or not? Because it is filled with charge. Then how do you apply the lubricating oil here? Where do you store it? So in case of two-stroke engine, the lubricating oil is filled with, it is mixed with the fuel itself, that is petrol. You might have seen the old cycles or mopeds, when they go to petrol bunk, lubricating oil is poured into the fuel tank itself. Did you observe? ఎప్పుడన్నా పాత మోటార్ సైకిల్స్ చూడండి, టీవీఎస్ ఎక్సెల్ ఎట్లా ఉంటాయి, ఇప్పుడు కొత్తవి కాదు, ఫోర్ స్ట్రోక్ కాదు, అవి మీరు చూసినట్టుగైతే ఈ లూబ్రికేటింగ్ ఆయిల్ ఫస్ట్ తీసి ఆ పెట్రోల్ ట్యాంక్లో వేసేస్తారు, తర్వాత అందులో ఫ్యూయల్ కొడతారు. దట్ మీన్స్ బోత్ లూబ్రికేటింగ్ ఆయిల్ అండ్ the petrol are mixed in the fuel tank itself, then it is sent into the cylinder. So here the fuel which is entering into the cylinder is a mixture of our fuel plus lubricating oil and air also. And as and when this mixture is circulated to each and every component, so it moves from here to here. So during this process, the lubricating occurs. The lubricating oil will come in contact with the parts, the moving parts. So the lubrication takes place. Is it advantageous or disadvantageous? The problem is here the lubricating oil also burns along with the fuel. When the combustion is taking place, the lubricating oil is mixed with the fuel. As the fuel burns, the lubricating also burns. Lubricating oil also burns. But what is the problem? If the fuel is burnt, the pollution will be very less. But if the lubricating oil is burnt, the pollution is very high. The gases which are coming due to the burning of lubricating oil are most dangerous to the environment. It causes more pollution. That's why if you observe the smoke from a 2-stroke engine or 4-stroke engine, you will observe a dense smoke from a 2-stroke engine because of burning of lubricating oil. But in case of 4-stroke engine, the lubricating oil will not burn. So that's why they are environmental friendly. Due to this reason only, in present day, all the 2-stroke engines are banned. Now you cannot observe any 2-stroke moped or 2-stroke engine. 2-stroke bikes are not there because of this reason, environmental concerns. As it creates more pollution, 2-stroke engines are not being in use. Only 4-stroke engines are in use right now. Almost all the 2-stroke vehicles are condemned. Okay, so that is another problem with this 2-stroke engine. But you are saying, I am saying only the problems. Are there any advantages? If so, what are the advantages? The power developed by a 2-stroke engine is higher than that of a 4-stroke engine. Because in case of 4-stroke engine, for every 4 revolutions, crank makes 2 revolutions. Sorry, for every 4 strokes, crank makes 2 revolutions. But here for every 2 revolutions, crank make 1 revolution. So that means for every 2 revolutions, there is a power stroke here. Is it right or not? For every 2 revolutions, there is a power stroke. So one among the 4 is a power stroke. But here, for every 1 revolution, there is a power stroke. So here, for every 1 revolution, half the power stroke, for example. But here, for every 1 revolution, 1 power stroke is there. So obviously, the power developed by the 2-stroke engine is more, double than that of a 4-stroke engine. So that's why the pickup of a Bajaj Chetak scooter old model is higher than a Pulsar bike of the same cc. Is it clear? So these are the advantages of a 2-stroke engine. And disadvantages also I have explained. Is it clear?